Hi and welcome to another card making video. Today I'm showcasing the July card kit by SimonSaysStamp, and as always let's take a look at what's included. First of all, you will get one pack full of frames. These are by Team Holtz, they are chipboard frames and they do have a little bit of dimension. And I have already shared an original project using one of those frames. And now let's take a quick look on the pattern paper. All of them are two-sided. You will find lots of designs mainly based on lemons, and the combination is lovely blues and black. As always, if you go to the SimonSaysStamp blog, you will find tons of inspiration on how to use the kit. And as always, I'm going to focus on the pattern papers, and I will share 4 cards using many of the papers that you see here. You will also find a big stamp set. This coordinates beautifully with the designs on the pattern paper, so you will find lemons, slices of lemons, butterflies, flowers and many sentiments to play with for your cards. This is a little embossing folder, but the fun part about it is that it not only embosses, but it also cuts out a little window at the center. So you end up with a lovely frame where you can tuck inside lovely flowers, or you can even stamp your sentiment in the window. Here is a little brush, and I guess this is included so you can apply easier the foundry wax, a new product by Team Holtz, and it's great to get it on one of the kits so we can try them out. There is also a black envelope, and then you will get white, yellow and a golden cardstock. And let's start playing with the pattern papers. You will find 2 pages that give you 4 little images. These images are 3 by 4 and they are perfect as focal points on top of a card. If you cut them all apart, you will end up with 8 of them, so in no time you can come up with 8 cards. I'm going to show you 4 designs where you can use those, and I'm sure you can recreate the rest by following these examples. So here are 2 of them. I don't like the yellow one and I don't feel like it would make a good focal point, so I'm going to use the back of it. And I'm going to stick one on top of the other by using foam tape on an angle. This is one of my go-to card designs, and this is probably the quickest card that you can put together. Plus it already has a sentiment on top. I'm going to glue that down on top of my card base. My card base is an A2 standard card size, that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm going to embellish it with a few gems. You don't always have to overcomplicate the designs, sometimes simple is better, plus you get to use all the pattern paper. Another way to use them is to cut out the focal point. So here you can see a couple of them that give you a bunch of lemons. I'm going to cut out the lemons from the white 3 by 4 card, and you can definitely save the sentiment below to use it for another card. So this is one of the other 3 by 4s that I'm going to use as my focal point, and I'm using the lemons that I cut out to create a cluster that is kind of dimensional. The design is already cluster themed, so by adding an element that is dimensional gives even more interest to your focal point. And now to make it more interesting, I'm going to add a few layers underneath. One is cut out by using dye that gives that lovely lace on the edges. Just I used white cardstock for that. I do have another one which is made out of vellum. Here is another pattern paper from the kit, and it does have the same design as my focal point. That's why I'm going to cut out a little strip so that I can layer it at the back as well. The idea is to create different layers, stick them underneath on an angle so that you can see a little bit of that pattern peeking through. I'm also going to cut out a panel that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 from this black pattern paper, and by using foam tape I'm going to stick my cluster on top of that. And all I have to do is to just stick the whole thing on top of a standard card base. It's going to cover it up completely without leaving any border. Plus you end up having a sentiment at the top. Another thing that you can do with the 3 by 4s is to match the design with the designs of the other pattern papers. So here, for example, you get a bee, and there are 2 pattern papers with bees. one on yellow background and another one on a white background. And as I turned them around, I completely changed my mind and I decided to go with a gingham instead. And this is when you try to make a point, but do the exact same opposite. Anyway, I'm going to go with this because it looks better. And I'm just going to cut it out to be slightly smaller than the standard card. This way, when I stick my focal point on top, it's going to leave a little border. Super quick and easy card, takes minutes to put together. Always keep in mind, pattern papers are perfect for when you need lots of cards in no time. And let's put together one more card using one of the 3x4s that we cut out in the beginning. This time I'm going to stick that directly on top of the pattern paper, and I chose this one because it has black and yellow at the back, so it matches with the colors of the focal point. I did stick it down and I'm going to eyeball a little frame all around. I'm not measuring anything, you can definitely measure and stick one on top of the other if you like. Again, a very simple design. I'm just going to stick that on top of my card base, and I do have foam tape at the back. However, I want to make it look more interesting. That's why I'm going to bring in another pattern paper which is full of butterflies in the colors of my focal point. And that's what I'm going to use to cut out 3 butterflies, which I can then stick on top of the card to embellish it a little bit more. Now I'm adding glue only at the center of the butterfly, and I'm curling the wings up so that I give a little bit of dimension. You can definitely embellish it even more by adding gems, pearls and sequins. However, I'm happy with how it looks and I'm going to call this card done. So these were the cards for today. I hope that you had fun and that you got inspired to use up your pattern paper. Links to everything I used can be found down below, just like always. Thank you all so much for joining me, and I'll see you all next time.